Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of the Unbox Your Life podcast. Today, we have a very special guest episode with someone from Wales, the UK. Her name is Eleanor Regina, and she is a self-awareness and emotional literacy author, mentor, and teacher. So Elena Regina, she's from Brazil, but she moved to the Wales after her marriage with her husband, who took his own life due to his experiences with depression. So Elena and I will be talking about our experiences with mental health and what we can do when faced with emotional struggles, including suicidal thoughts and ideation, which seems to have become quite an epidemic, nowadays. And this episode is a um very important one. Also a very we're gonna do a serious like deep dive into it. And yeah, like Elena is someone whom I have a lot of respect for. She has done, she has a lot of expertise in this area, and she draws a lot from her uh lived experiences to do what she's doing now. So yeah, um hi Elena, thank you for being on my podcast.
Well,
Um, can you
Xin
give
Lei, thank you.
can you give a summary of what you currently do to our audience here?
Absolutely. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for taking the leap and showing up and having this serious conversation. It's a sensitive, serious, meaningful, and really important conversation that we must have at this time when we're facing so much struggle all over the world. It doesn't matter where you are these days, humanity is suffering, and it's an important conversation. So thank you very much. I'll give you a short version of my background. This is my third career. I was trained to become a linguist. So my first career was in linguistics, translation, interpreting, and I used to teach English back in Brazil, and then I taught
Mm,
Portuguese in Wales. Then
mm,
I had a major back breakdown, really. My husband took his own life, as you mentioned. The reason why I came to Wales was because I got married to my Welsh prince, and life took me here, kept me here. After my serious breakdown, I decided to become a counselor. So I trained to become a counselor. I worked as a school-based counselor for a few years and a
mm,
private practitioner as well. And I started creating content. Had a bit of a
mm,
burnout in the industry. And now I feel as if I'm stepping into my life's purpose. I published a
mm,
book called Divine Soul, Sacred Body from Suicide to Sovereignty,
mm,
which gives context, showing sharing my personal experiences that also led me to struggle with depression and suicidal thoughts until I decided, no, that is not how we can solve this problem. Because, at the end of the
mm,
day, the only way out is the way through. If you think of a tunnel, if you're in a tunnel, you can't dig a hole on the ground hoping to find
mm.
the exit. So we have to go through
Yes.
everything, all the experiences that we go through life. It's important for us to deal with every single aspect of what the emotional state that
Mm,
those experiences cause. So now I am stepping into my purpose. I feel I fulfilling my mission. I've always been driven asking myself questions about who am I, what am I doing here, and what is all this about. I've always been philosophical about
mm,
serious deep questions about me as a human and what I'm doing here. You can't just be a struggle, but it seems like humanity is and has been facing a lot of struggles for a very long time. So now my aim is to raise self-awareness and provide emotional literacy tools and information for people, individuals who are ready to take responsibility over their own healing, because no one can do it for you. I'm sorry to be to point the obvious, but
True.
no one can do it for you. We have to take personal responsibility, and it's a long journey. So yeah, let's dive straight in, and I am looking forward to answering your questions and engaging with your audience, because young people really need more guidance, more tools, and the correct, relevant and inspiring, empowering information, so that they can discern for themselves what's best for them.
Thank you so much, Eliana. I believe you have a lot to offer, to inform, people who may need the information. I believe there's so many of people out there, young adults like myself,
Yes,
who need this information. Yeah. Based on my experience, I just wish, someone could provide me with the information. But
absolutely.
yeah, so that's why we are here today. And yeah, thank you for your courage and passion about
You.
this work.
It's
Yeah, so
bigger than me. It's not about me. This work is bigger than my life. When we find
yeah,
a purpose and a mission, that becomes your sole focus. It's not about my life. It's not about me. Obviously, I'm a human being, and I'm here to experience this life. But unless I'm doing what I came here to do, it makes no sense to me. It has no meaning to just come here and be another number, or be just have a life that is dictated by external circumstances.
yes, it's to be for something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so in today's episode, specifically, we are diving into the mental health crisis. Now, mental health is a very big topic, and yeah, like there's but it's a very important topic to address nowadays,
Yeah.
and so yeah, let's dive straight in. What do you think is the root cause, of such a global mental health crisis? Like, why do you think it's gotten so bad, and that people are so desperate that they're willing to take their own lives?
Wow. Yeah, let's hit the ground running here. This is a big one, isn't it? It's a big question. It's a important question. I would just like to
Yes.
rephrase it, actually, and focus on, yes, we are presenting with all these illnesses and suffering and traumas and depression, and I, in my own personal experience, losing my husband to suicide made me realize that what actually killed him. So I'm going to give you and your audience a short answer, and then we can elaborate a little bit. Basically, what I feel, what I believe is behind and the root cause of such a global crisis, mental, spiritual, it's not just mental, it's mental, emotional, spiritual, that leads to physical, all in one. It needs to be holistic. Crisis is the lack of self-awareness and the lack of emotional literacy. That is the short answer. Because at the end of the day, it's about awareness. Everything, awareness is everything. And awareness relates to information, knowledge. So self-awareness is about tapping into the awareness, the consciousness that we develop based on our cultural background, educational, all the societal systems, everything that is presented to us as we grow up, that we consume, then we become who we become based on what's around us. But we also come, I believe that we also come upon this human sacred body with a certain consciousness level. So there is this combination with the inner and the outer, nurture and nurture, nature and nurture. So it's important for us to discern, to learn discernment. So to answer your question, really, what's the root cause is the lack of self-awareness and emotional literacy. Because at the end of the day, if people learn who and what they truly are, when they learn who and what they truly are, they are more empowered to make good decisions. And it's a personal choice. It's a personal responsibility to make personal choices. However, young people, children and young people are influenced, highly influenced. So if they are not given the relevant information for them to develop in a holistic way, that they can deal with their emotions, they are given tools, they have role models, they have integrity, they learn integrity, learn to be truthful is key. But unfortunately, we're not here to blame, but we have to point the obvious, because if we look around us, what we are fed from institutions and entertainment and TV is turning us into what we see, and we can't blame young people, but at the same time, it's important for us to people like you and I and other people who are doing great work to bring this conversation out in the open and share the information for those who are ready to receive.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree that I think like we are, as much as I believe like we still have like our free will is like still kind of like the highest, but it is still very much a fact that we are kind of like a product of our environment, especially like if you are just from young, you don't have the tools, you're not empowered to make your own judgment, so you kind of just programmed by what's around you.
Yes,
right, like
absolutely.
you're very susceptible. Yeah, and then a lot of these like programming and cultural conditioning, unfortunately, is just quite disempowering like for the individual.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, like hearing from you that the root cause is a lack of awareness. Yeah, like I think it can be said so that it is a lack of awareness. And because of this, the manifestation of this is like the mental health problems that we see today. Like we see in the news that, like mental health crisis is affecting a lot of people globally, and like at unprecedented levels among the youths, especially. I mean, I think it affects people across all age levels, the elderly as well. But yeah, like specifically, I'm interested specifically for like youths, because of what you mentioned, that they are the ones, they're actually like disempowered empowered, like they are very susceptible. So yeah, like I think one of the mental health, there's so many mental health issues, but let's kind of narrow down and talk about more specific one. One of the most prevalent issues, depression, clinical depression.
Yeah.
This is something I see very prevalent in my age group. Like myself included struggled with this issue. So I'd like to get your thoughts on depression.
Right.
Like, you know, what is depression in your professional view?
Okay.
And I know you have also struggled with it as well. Can you tell us about your own experiences and how you managed to break free from it?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, important question. So again, I will give you the short version. In a nutshell, depression is the lack of self-expression. Because when someone is unable to express what they're feeling, to express what they need, to express their wants, to be able to ask for help, then they start suppressing. And in the systems around us, it seems, well, it's evident, let's be honest, let's call a spade, we are encouraged to suppress. There are many, many ways that this has been done, through education, through many, many ways. And, you know, so if we suppress our feelings, we suppress our, you know, experiences, what causes us to feel emotions is the experience that we go through. And if you're not able to reflect and process and feel those emotions so that they flow, because emotions are energy in motion. They are not supposed to be stuck in our physical body, our emotional, mental, spiritual body. If they're not processed and felt, dealt with, then that's where the problem starts. So if you're not expressing, that's what causes us to feel depressed. And that can manifest in many different ways, in many different degrees, to a level that a person is so lost in their suffering that they will make a permanent, they will resort to something like suicide, which is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You can't, there is no turning back. If you take your own life, that's it. But, you know, there are other dangers about it that I speak of in my book that we're not going to, it's a completely different conversation. We're not going to have time to touch on that. But essentially, depression is the lack of self-expression. It's important that a person, you know, asking for help is a sign of strength. And we, unfortunately, especially in some coaches, I've been fortunate enough to be brought up in a culture with, you know, the Italian, Latin kind of blood in Brazil, that we were, you know, there was no fear about expressing our emotions. I felt safe to express my emotions. So in that respect, I'm very blessed, and I was very, very lucky to be brought up in that way, and you know, to show affection, but at the same time to be able to express my sadness when I felt sad. So so that is key, and that's in a nutshell what depression is. And the way you know, I had many, many cycles of depression. In fact, you know, I never really knew much about depression until I came to this country, until my husband took his own life, until I started having my cycles of depression. And I had a lot of resilience within me. And every time I dug myself out, it wasn't permanent. It wasn't something that I could just heal, because things kept happening. So every time, it's not a one-shot deal, because the thing about depression is it can either lead you to destruction or it can lead you to sovereignty. And that's what I talk about in my book, really, being able to resolve your issues, take personal responsibility, and look for help. We're not saying do it on your own. I did a lot of it on my own, but I've learned a lot. And I would like to think that I have a lot of tools and inspiring information to empower people, especially young people, to be able to discern and deal with that issues. Because at the end of the day, we are not our stories. What happens to us is, what really matters is what we deal with what happens to us, not really what happens. And there is a very fine line, because unfortunately, a lot of us get stuck into the traumas and the dramas and the experiences itself, rather than being able to discern and look at from a different perspective. Because once you raise your self-awareness, you will realize that you know your story, you know your experiences. We're so much more than that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I like your expression that depression is the lack of
It
expression.
is. It's a good little
Yes.
antidote, I
Yeah,
guess.
very
It's like something to
uh
really, like, I think for young people, if they are told that, it's like depression is the lack of self-expression, and that is thought-provoking. They, oh, wait a minute. So does that mean, once I start expressing, I mean, it needs to be done in a safe way. You can't just express your feelings with people that you can't trust. So it needs to be with a professional or a member of your family, friend that you really, really trust. But the more, and you can do it, once you're given tools, you can do it. It's important for us to learn tools and mechanisms to self-soothe and to self-govern, so that you can do journaling. But it's like, again, it's information and learning the relevant, important skills and information that leads to empowerment.
Yeah, that sounds like from that point of view, that sounds like that is the way to tackle it. Yeah, and I just like to add on, when you were speaking about like the cultural aspect of it, yeah, I think like when I look upon my own experience, like I can now kind of understand like why I was stuck in a state of depression, because in the culture that I grew up under, it's like it doesn't encourage expression of emotions. It's like this kind of governs like the social relationship between people as well. Like, for example, how parents show their love for children is not through emotions, but like more like kind of rituals, like they do things for you. So emotions is like not a big part of the culture that I grew up in. And because of this, I think, yeah, like it led to, this very emotionally stifled state of being for many young people like growing up. And then like it's kind of like a circle like that perpetuates, because if you don't know how to deal with your emotions, then you won't teach your children.
Exactly. We can't blame our parents. We can't.
Yeah,
Because,
so
they would do better if they knew better. If they had the tools, they would have passed it on to us, So we depend on our elders as young children and young people to give us the foundation. If you don't have the foundation, then you're more susceptible to fall, to stumble and
yeah,
struggle.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I used to like kind of resent my parents for like this. But then like as I grew older, like now, like I see that this is a generational thing, it's a cultural thing, and it happens, yes, in some cultures this is like kind of a bit more tricky, like when it comes to expression of emotions. And so like yeah, like I'm still, like learning how to finding a safe space. Like you said, it's important to find a safe space to express my emotions. It's not always safe for me to do that if the people around me don't know how to like handle that. But I'm positive that like yeah, like if we can create like a culture that makes it more safe for people to express their emotions, like normalize to do that, then like I think we can see a lot more improvement
Yeah.
in this.
Mm.
Yeah.